Where is it from? Thank you. Happy Friday, you guys. Happy, fabulous, fantastic Friday. Free you Friday. Free you Friday. Free you from the work week. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining the live. I hope and pray that you guys have had a great week. I hope that Friday has been good to you so far. And I hope that you are looking forward to a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank you to the person who gave me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. I greatly appreciate it. If you come across this live video or this live or the replay video, please, please like, comment. If you don't mind, subscribe. Or come back again if you don't feel like subscribing. Come back later. Maybe you will. But I appreciate you for coming through. I appreciate you for coming through here. We're back walking. We're back doing my cool down. I missed yesterday because yesterday was a busy day. Yesterday was a busy day, so I missed yesterday. But I hope that each and every one of you, still got to walk in, still got to dance in, still got some skating, biking, swimming. I hope that you got something in for your exercise, for your cardiovascular exercise yesterday and every day, every day. It's recommended that you do cardiovascular exercise 5 days a week, minimum. But it's okay to do it every day. It's okay to do it every day. And I hope that you guys are doing it every day. I hope that you're doing it so that you can, free your mind. It's free for all Friday. Free your mind. Free your thoughts. Free yourself. Free your mood. Free your mood. If you've been in a bad mood, use Friday as a day to just kind of free yourself of the negative vibes. Free your mood. Put out those fires on Friday, okay? All the fires from the week, from the current week, put those out today. Put those out today. Spray some water on them. Get a fire extinguisher. Extinguish those fires today. Because guess what? Whether you extinguish them or not, they'll probably still be there today, tomorrow. They're going to stay until they just kind of, calm themselves. So whatever you did this week or whatever you encountered this week, hopefully it was good. It was all good. But if it wasn't all good, then use Friday as a way to free your mind. Give yourself some time to relax. Being aware of the things that we can't change and changing the things that we can change. And in the meantime, just walk. Take a few minutes to walk. Walk and talk to yourself. There's nothing wrong with talking to yourself. Some people say that you can talk to yourself and it's okay as long as you don't answer. It's okay to answer as well. If you're talking to you, who else is going to answer? Who else is going to answer besides you? So yes, it's okay to talk to yourself, and it's also okay to answer yourself as well. Sometimes we need one of those good old conversations with ourselves. Something may be on your mind and it's bothering you and it's bothering you and it's bothering you. You may have talked to someone about it and there may not be anyone to talk about it. So sometimes you have to talk to yourself, and it's okay to talk out loud. It's okay to talk out loud to yourself. Don't be ashamed to talk out loud to yourself, okay? People are going to call people crazy anyway. So, hey, Brilliant. Happy Friday, Brilliant. How are you? Happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday. I hope your week has been great. I know you're about to work out today, aren't you, Brilliant? Do you work out tonight? Blessings, chat, beautiful Maz. Yes, Brilliant. Blessings to you, beautiful lady. I hope you've had a fabulous week. We're just talking about putting out fires on Friday. For those who don't, maybe you still had a busy week. So use Friday as a day to free yourself, free your mind, free your body, free your soul. The things you can't change them. The things that we can, put those fires out. Put those fires out. Use Friday as a day to free your mind, to free your thoughts, free your soul, free yourself, and put out some of those fires that started this week. Some of them may be fires from weeks and weeks and months before, but hey, even if you can't put them out, throw some water on them, throw some flour on them, get a fire extinguisher, quell them, temper them down. And just take some time to free yourself from it this weekend. Free yourself from it this weekend. Put out those fires. Put out the fires that started for you this week, last month, and keep pushing to get those fires completely out. But use your Fridays as a day not to just look forward to for fun and relaxation. Look forward to that day to just release, put fires out. Put those fires out. Free yourself from the fires that started this week, especially those small ones, especially the small ones. Sometimes those can be the most annoying. Freedom is the best gift someone could ever give themselves. Right, Brilliant, right. Exactly. Freedom, you can give yourself freedom from so much, from so many things. You're right, it's one of the best gifts you can give to yourself. Just free yourself. Free yourself from people, from situations, certain circumstances. For all those, there are a lot of times where we can't free ourselves from certain things. We got to go through it. We got to deal with it. But sometimes we can free ourselves from a lot of things. But we don't even take the time to stop and realize that. Like, just free yourself. Free your mind, and the rest will follow. In Vogue. Y'all remember In Vogue? One of the realest girl bands. They weren't a girl band though, y'all. They weren't a girl band. But just depending on how you look at music, you could say that. But they were an R&B, a female R&B group. So just free your minds, and the rest will follow. Because it's Brilliant, exactly. It's a mind. Oftentimes it's a mind game. It's a mind game. And that same mind that you have to free, you can use that same mind to allow yourself to free yourself. Isn't it funny how that works? Sometimes our minds can be so bogged down and so weighed with with things, just issues, just things that happen in life. But it's that same mind that's bogged down that you have to take and use to free yourself from the things that have bogged it down. It's just getting yourself in certain mindsets. That same mind is just getting yourself in certain mindsets. In Vogue was the ish, still is. I know that's right, Brilliant, weren't they? And they still are. You're exactly right. In Vogue, who else? I love some In Vogue. And the songs back then, and I'm not talking about back then like, when our parents would say back then, they meant the 60s and 70s. When we say back then, we mean the 90s, 2000s. It was no, it was that the groups back then was so original. Even though they may have been in the same genre, they were so original. You were not gonna mix up In Vogue with SWV. You could not get them mixed up. And they both had their own swag. They both had their own sass. That probably is a, did they do a versus? I don't know. That's probably a good versus right there. In Vogue versus SWV. Because I didn't catch all of the verses. All of the ones that they had, I didn't catch all of the verses. I guess that's what I would say. But that sounds like a good one. Like, you got In Vogue back then, SWV, TLC. And it was totally different. And they all had their own crazy, crazy smooth swag. Crazy, crazy smooth swag. So original and authentic. Nobody copying off of anybody. Everybody did it their own way. Hello. Everybody doing it their own way. Everybody had their own sound. Everybody had their own swag. Everybody had their own everything about themselves back then. You had like who I say? In Vogue, SWV, TLC, Escape. Oh my gosh. There was nothing. There was no comparisons. Escape. You talking about Escape. It was so many women back then. And you want to get into the rappers. You got Queen Latifa. Everybody was different. You got Salt and Pepper. You got MC Light. You got oh my gosh, what's her name? Woman of Rage. You got Foxy Brown. You got Little Kim. Those 90s and the 2000s. Troop Silk, Mint Condition, SWB. Yeah. But it's so funny to me how, because the men always outnumber the women. But just thinking about it, there were so many women groups who had it on lock. They had their things on lock. And nobody, now I don't know if there were any personal beefs or anything like that, but back then, you didn't hear about women, like that's usually rappers, but I'm sure there are some R&B people who kind of, they maybe had their little, I don't really remember beefs, but it's usually the public when it comes to that kind of stuff. The comparisons. Like Keith Sweat comparing to who? Maybe Luther was still putting out the hits. But that was like no comparison. But people would do silly things like that. Compare Keith Sweat to maybe Al B. Sure. You can't compare Keith and Al. They both did it their way and they were original. But when it comes to the women, that SWV, In Vogue, Escape, TLC, and TLC brought us Black. Y'all remember Black? I love them. They were so much like TLC, and they just, in a way, they emulated TLC a little bit, but they were still just so original. They still were original with it. And sadly, unfortunately, one of those members was struck by a car. It was a while after they kind of had broken up and everything, but that was so sad. It was so sad when that happened. So, like I said, you want to just talk about women. You got Aaliyah. She wasn't around here trying to compete with anybody. Beyonce and them were coming on the heels of Aaliyah. You got Little Kim, Foxy Brown. Everybody always pitted them against each other. Now, they were in the same area, so there were some times where I think they kind of did have some issues. But, when you think back on that, I wish you could get all of them on the stage today. And of course, they probably have some stuff in their minds, but I bet you nobody would even care about all that stuff back then. For the ones that did have little tips and riffs. Yes, Missy Elliott. Yep. So it's like Janet Jackson was popping so hard back then still. And then all of a sudden, here comes Toni Braxton. Man, I can remember my uncle saying, "Oh," And it was Tony Braxton. And I was like, I thought Janet was your girl. He was like, shoot, Janet been out here a while. This thing here new. Y'all not calling her a thing, but you know how we talk. We talk in the hood. We talk in families. It was it was basically a term of endearment. He was like, now that to me is a word. If you say this thing, but certain words, nah, I'll never take those as terms of endearment. But that N word will never be a term of endearment. I don't know why people even try to twist it into that, leaving other people open and comfortable to using it. No. But he would say, ooh, that thing right there. So I said, so you leaving Janet? Let's see, Monica, Brandy, Aaliyah. Yep. I love me some John B. Yes. Yep, I watch John B probably at least once a week. No less than once every 2 weeks. John B has soul, period. I don't care. You know, you have a lot of people that get out here and they try to have a little soul, or they imitate people. Just Timberlake. But you have some people where it's true and authentic, and this, you don't even see them as imitators. You don't even see them trying to duplicate. John B just had it. And you know another one who had it? A lot of people didn't like him because he was a soulful brother. But Michael Bolton. Yeah, Michael Bolton, I could tell he would try. He was really, really trying, but at the same time, he had skills. Michael Bolton had skills. He did. So you know what? And let's talk about, not only talk about the rappers. They used to come down to the South for Freaknik. Shoot, you got, it's a lot of them. In Woman of Rage, I used to like her. Everybody loved her and her Afro puffs. The Brat, yes. So I'm saying you can't, Michael Bolton, John B, the lighter versions of soul, they had it. I can remember my grandmother hearing Michael Bolton one day. We were in the living room and he came on, he was singing a song. And my grandmother said, it was so funny. I'm not going to tell y'all what she said, but she was like, can sing. He can sing. And my aunties were like, yeah, he can. He really can. It was like, bless his heart. Sometimes he be trying, though. You could tell he just be trying to just, like he just be trying to say, I'm solidified. And we're like, you got it, Michael. You got it. You solid. You're solid. You're solid. Functified. Bria, you still remember every single word of Functified? A lot of people do, and it's so funny how those songs come back to you and you remember every word. You remember every word, and you never thought that, you know, you did, back then at the time you weren't thinking about 20, 25 years from now. You know, will I remember this song? It's just like, sometimes, you know, once it finally gets done, they finally get done circulating it, the airplay is over, and you really have to kind of like play your CDs, or, you know, back then, however you had to listen to it, or maybe you go to like an oldie R&B channel once it was out of rotation, you know, daily rotation at your radio station. But guess what? You could still hear it at a party. You could still hear it at the skating rink. You were just going to hear it. You were still going to hear it some way, somehow, even if you didn't have the CD, even if you didn't have it. And then, of course, everybody got into what is it? The online versions, where you could just go online. There was something that came out first. I cannot think of the name of it, but everybody would go if you wanted to hear something that you hadn't heard in a long time. So every single word. Yeah, brilliant. That's close to what she said, but that wasn't what she said. That wasn't what she said. It was probably the opposite. It was the opposite. But hey, we were giving her props. She was like, we were like, yeah, he can. And sometimes he overdoes it because he's just trying too hard. We're like, pipe it down, Michael, pipe it down. You got it. You got it. You got it. Him. And I'm talking about that John B. John B, his swag made him sexy. His swag made him sexy. He was nice looking. He was good looking. and he performed. What was it? Was it the BET Awards? I think it was the BET Awards. He performed recently somewhere, and his hairstyle was a little bit different than from back in the day, but he still looks nice. He still looks nice. I wish I was like, look, John B, cut that hair down low, get you a wave cap like I know you used to do back in the day, and let us look at that old John B. So he was still good looking. He has a beautiful wife, little girls. He has an older daughter. John B just loves him some chocolate music, and some chocolate. Hi, Gio. Is it Giola? Gioia? From Italy. Hello, how are you? Welcome into this chat. I appreciate you for stopping by and waving. How are you today? Happy Friday to you. What time is it over there in Italy? Brilliant says, hey, Lines, I got into a discussion with my neighbor here in Seattle. I was telling her that back home in North Carolina, when I was little, I used to be able to walk to the store with a note. Yeah, ooh, yes. Brilliant. That's what I'm talking about. You could your parents would give you a list with and have a note on it, and you could go to the store. But brilliant. What about you didn't even have to? They didn't even have to give you any money. Like they didn't even have to give you any money, because that's just how cool it was back then. Back then, growing up in the 80s and 90s, and for those who grew up in the 70s, it was hard. Like financially, it was hard for a lot of people. But the one thing about people back then, they stuck to their word. If they gave you their word that they would pay, they paid. There were very few times where you would have somebody in a town who wouldn't pay. And sometimes if you did have that person who wouldn't pay, the town would get together and go ahead and pay it for them, or people would understand. That person not paying wouldn't stop them from allowing other people to, form credit. Because, sometimes when people do you a certain way, it's like you're like, nah, I'm done. I don't want, I'm not going to help anybody else. But back in the day like that, your parents could give you a note. You could take it to the store and you would come back with everything on that note, unless they just didn't have it or something like that. That's the only way. Unless they just didn't have it, then they wouldn't give it to you. Hello. Let me see. To buy beer and a pack of cools, and we would be able to just walk home. You could just walk home, didn't have to worry about anybody messing with you, bothering you, stuff like that. You rarely had to worry about anybody, bothering kids back then. If that did happen, the times that did happen, where somebody did something like that, the times that it did happen, it was like very, 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 very rare. Very rare. No ID, no money. Brilliant. Whatever they put on that list, you could go to the store and they would send it back home to your parents, because they knew your parents, they knew you, your parents knew them. And like I said, sometimes even if you didn't have the money, they would credit it to your parents, because back then people believed in paying their bills, and people were extended credit based on their word. Wasn't no credit check and all this kind of stuff. You could go to certain local grocery stores, and it had to be the grocery store owner had to have a little bit of money. You know how sometimes in a community where there's one or two people who have the money, and even though they may not be filthy rich, they can afford to kind of help people out. So usually whoever owned the local grocery store or two, the local chain anyway, they would extend the families in the town credit. And you could send your child, like you said, to the store with a note, and they would come back home with everything on the note, no matter what it was. And then on payday, or whenever your mom and dad, agreed to pay the bill would get paid. And everybody would be afforded that favor, to extend them credit, because back then people paid their bills, and it wasn't based on a credit check. It was based on times were hard. And so if the local person who could afford to have a grocery store would get in groceries, sometimes for those who couldn't afford it, they would extend them credit. And you could go there, like you said, with a note. Your parents didn't have to worry about anybody bothering you because there were so many people in the neighborhood that were going to look out for you anyway. But pretty much nobody was going to bother you. And you could come back home with everything on that note. Hey, Sassy. Hey, Lounge Pride and Chat. Hey, Sassy, welcome to the chat. Happy Friday to you. No ID, no money. We never even thought about touching any of their stuff. Right. Laugh out loud. And our parents' word was everything. Our parents' words were everything. We never thought about stealing back then. Every now and again, you get like a small child or something who maybe would steal, and they would teach them a lesson. They would teach them a lesson. The store owner would get on to them. The parents would get on to them. Now, how they punished them, I don't know. but a lot of times, the shame and embarrassment that came with that, they didn't do it again. Every so often you'd have a child that may go into the store and steal a candy bar, steal a piece of candy. And if they got caught, oh my goodness, the embarrassment, they didn't do it again. And then if there was an adult who did something like that, usually everybody knew about that adult. Like everybody knows who smokes a lot in town. Everybody knows who drinks a lot in town. Everybody knows who may go into the store as an adult and steal a candy bar, a honey bun, a soft drink. Everybody knew it. And a lot of times they would do something like say, you can't come back in here for for a whole week. And if they caught you again, don't come back here for a month. And if they caught you again, they would still let you come into the store just on the basis that it was a small town or it was hometown and they knew you. And they knew that you didn't have, they knew that you were probably hungry and that's why you stole it. And most of the times, the message that they would give those people who would do that is don't steal from me, ask me. Don't steal from me, ask me. If you don't steal from me, you'll come out better if you just ask me. Now sometimes, y'all, anybody remember the show, the old show? It has reruns now, and it's making me remember some of those shows. It's Little House on the Prairie, places like that, where there was the rich couple had the store, and it's like sometimes you have a mean person. Now sometimes every town might, many towns, you might have that one grocery store where the owner is cool, then another grocery store where the owner is mean. If you don't have it, they make you feel ashamed that you don't have the money. They won't lend you credit. They won't extend credit to you. It's like you got to have it or you don't get it. So then you leave there and you go over to the other grocery store where they're cool. That show made me think about that because the family who had the most money in town also owned a grocery store, kind of. And I remember recently watching an episode where times were tough. The family wasn't working, the dad wasn't working, and they were getting their stuff on credit. Well, that was fine until they got kind of behind more so than normal. And that lady that owns the store made the lady feel so bad. So, back then, you could send your kids to the store, they come back with whatever. They wouldn't be, nobody would have harmed them. Nobody would have said anything to them. You just had those type of relationships. Now, that being said, there were some creepy people even back then that did a lot of things that didn't come to the surface or didn't come to light until years later. But for the most part, many people were blessed and fortunate enough to have a village where it was safety, safety. Everybody, it was safe. It was safe to allow your children to do things or go certain places. And if your child was out and cutting up, you already know. The neighbors had, if not permission to spank you, they at least had permission to admonish you. Brian says, happy Friday, Sassy. So we normally did this at the mom and pop stores in town. And yes, indeed, our parents always paid their bills without being reminded. Exactly. Can you imagine that being allowed modern day? That could never happen. Right. You know what, Brilliant? Now, I'm not gonna lie. It's not really a grocery store, but I do know of one store near me where it's not really a grocery store, but it's kind of like, the tobacco shops and stuff like that. It's kind of like a little, what you would call, like in the back in the day, a zippy mart, where there is one that I know of that they'll let people get maybe smokes or, sweets or something like that until they get paid. But they don't do it for everybody because like we were saying, you can't do it for everybody today. Not in today's world, in today's society, you can't, because people take advantage. What's going on, girl, dad? How are you? How are you? How are you? The shame came to those that don't pay their bills. Yes, right, exactly. And even the ones that stole, that got caught stealing, they would tell them they can't come into the store for the rest of the week. And sometimes if they got caught again, you can't come in for a whole month. It took maybe several times over before they just banned them from the store. Because like I said, usually in a smaller town, they pretty much know who has the haves and the have-nots. And the people who typically are kind of well off, those numbers are few. And those who are, just making it, those numbers are many. And then you have those who just can't. They just can't afford it. Everything they get, they're asking for, they're trying to do maybe some work around the store or work for somebody, work in their yard, So people know who just can't catch a break financially. And they kind of help them out. But when you get caught stealing from them, then that's a whole nother ball game. Good evening, Lines Pride in chat. Good evening, girl, dad. How are you? How are you, bro? Glad to have you in the chat. I always say, Grandma Reefa isn't dope. Stop. Grandma Reefa, wait. I always say Grandma Reefa isn't dope. Stop saying that. When you say dope, Grandma, we think you saying somebody on that crack. For real. But when our folks used to say dope, we used to think we would think they would say reefer and they would say dope. Reefer and dope. So, girl, I ain't even know nothing about the crack. I ain't gonna even lie to y'all. I ain't know nothing about crack until crack had been out for a while. I didn't even know the difference till like maybe a little bit before the Whitney Houston and who was it? Whitney Houston, and who did the interview with Whitney? And Whitney said that crack is whack. These days, just like our music, just ain't the same. I know. It's not. Girl, dad says, brilliant, blessed mess. How are you? He says, hello, sassy. Brilliant says, I don't know about crack until Whitney said crack is whack. Brilliant, I'm telling you, I didn't know about it until like a little bit before then. And that's why it was funny to me. Because I had just found out, like, what's the difference? Crack, cocaine? I'm just thinking, because so many people say crack cocaine. So I'm just thinking it's just a two-term drug. I mean, yeah, you just crack cocaine. So I'm thinking it's the same. And that's probably, who was it? Was it Barbara Walters? Some people don't know nothing about that. People tend to think all celebrities and all media people know stuff when it comes to that kind of stuff, but not really. I mean, if you don't indulge in that kind of stuff, you don't know the difference. like you didn't know the difference back then. Like sometimes, like some of the stuff that's out now, some of these kids don't know the difference between what and what. And the sad part about it is, sometimes it doesn't matter what they're telling you you're getting. You're usually getting something more, something worse. You're usually getting something tainted. So you may be thinking you're getting something kind of soft, just like reefer. You may be thinking you're getting that, but it's been tainted. It's been cut with something else. And so you just never know. That's why I never had an interest in getting anything. I never, nothing. Never wanted to know how I felt like. Never wanted to know how good it felt. People would say it feels this way, it felt it. Never wanted to know. Never. Look, I don't even know what to say. Never even thought about trying it. Brian says, I don't know about crack too. Oh, I saw that one. I'm blessed, girl, dad. How are you? Me too. I thought it was, to this day, it is the same. Brilliant. I promise you, I thought, because I used to hear people say crack cocaine. So when they would just say crack, I thought they was just shortening it. And when they would say cocaine, I thought they were just shortening it. So just shortening it. So I'm like, they're just shortening the word. Or the real name. I'm thinking it's crack cocaine. Just like a first and last name. Like because so many people You know, people sometimes do that now with things that they don't have to put together, like words they put together. So they would say crack cocaine so much. I just figured it was the same thing. Girl, little did I know, honey, I guess the cocaine was for the rich, or those who could afford it, and the crack was whack, like she said. The crack was for those who couldn't, and the cocaine was for those who could. I don't go past reefer. Never have, never will. Now, I'm ready for tomorrow, sis. Oh, my Lord, I'm ready for it. I never even wanted. The smell of it just turned me off. The smell of it. And then, you know, sometimes people are like, oh, that's that good kush. That's good. I'm like, how do you know? And I'm telling you, I couldn't tell you if it smells like it's good or if it smells like it's bad. I couldn't tell you the difference because it all smells bad to me. I hate to even pass by somebody. Like if I'm in Walmart and oh my gosh, and then it's like, girl, one time, usually it's guys or maybe younger women. But y'all, this one time a whole family passed by, and I hope it wasn't the kids, but you know those kids getting that contact high. So I'm thinking it was the mom and the dad, because it was a family. It was like maybe 2 to 3 kids. And when they walked by me, when I tell you, I'm like, a mask can't do nothing with that. Oh, I wish masks could just could rid some of these smells. And I had a mask on, y'all. I was like, a mask ain't got nothing on it. Nothing. I can't stand the smell of it. And so I don't really know when it's the good stuff. Brilliant. How can you tell when it's the good stuff or when it's the tainted stuff or the bad stuff or the weak stuff? For tomorrow is 420. I make treats, butter, oil, and enjoy it all. Oh, okay. Now I do hear people, that they make brownies and candy and stuff like that. You know what? You know how we talk about veggies and stuff? Sassy says, I'm still here, just business running around. Okay, Sassy. Okay, thank you for listening. You know how we talk about like making candy and stuff like that? If you tell me that it's in there, I'm not. That's just like when we were little, certain things that we would eat. Like say for instance, if you don't like onions, well, most likely you know that you don't like onions because it's been in something and it was obvious that there were onions and you tasted it or you felt it. Sometimes it's just a feel of something. You don't like it in your mouth. But say you get something and you chop it up real good and you mix it in there. If they don't tell you that onions are in it, you may not know. Now, some people, their perception is keen. It's on point. They'll be able to taste it. But sometimes you can chop it up so finely or put the onion powder or something. And because some people, they don't want onions at all. They don't want onions. They don't want them finely chopped. They don't want them largely chopped. They don't want powder or anything. And I'm like, but you just don't know. Even if you don't, a lot of times when you're in a restaurant, it's in it, the powder anyway. So I guess some people are okay with the powder because it's not as obvious unless you just overload your food with it. But just like green veggies, some people never like green veggies. They ate with their eyes because we eat with our eyes first. So just the fact that it was green turned them off. Just the fact that it smells so bad or so loudly, it turns me off. Just the fact that it smells so loud, it's like, nah, I gotta have all my faculties. And I don't care how it relaxes you. I don't care, I'm thinking, what if you're too relaxed? I don't want it. I don't want it. Bree says, I don't smoke in my house or around my kids, but my smoke room stay cloudy. Bree says, my smoke room stay cloudy. You can tell by the crystals on it and the stench. Okay. By the stench. Excuse the last word, typo. By the stench it makes. Well, see, to me, it all stinks. Like, I've smelled it before, and it's really loud. And I've heard a person say, ooh, that's bad. It's not good. I've smelled it before, and it's really loud. And then they'll say it's good. But to me, I don't know how to differentiate. If it's loud, and I just knew, knowing that I never smoked it, I've smelled it before. I smelled other people smoke it. So I do know what the smell generally is. But if it's loud, to me, it just stinks. But I got friends and family, they'll say, oh, that smells good right there. And then, those same friends and family will say, oh, that stinks. That ain't good. That ain't good. And I'm like, how do you know? It's all loud. Brent says, I make brownies, cookies, cupcakes, suckers, infused steak for parties and engagements. They are delicious but super strong. Ooh, see, uh-uh. And then I'm one of those like, now I probably could eat it and you not tell me and I wouldn't know because I don't indulge in it. But if you told me, I wouldn't eat it again. Like, if you told me, I wouldn't eat it again. That's what loud means. It's loud, it's good. Yeah, but like, okay, sometimes it's loud and they say it's not good though. Like, I'm trying to think, like my uncles and stuff, they say it's like, it's just they just keep telling me if you smoke, like they say if it's loud, it's good, it's more authentic, but some loud can be bad. So I'm like, what? And so they're like, if you know, you know. They're like, it's one of those if you know kind of things. And I was like, I just won't know then because it just stinks to me. Like if it's like, if you walk by me and it's loud, oh, look at these red birds. If you walk by me and it's loud, I'm like, nah. Can you keep it moving? Like, can you keep it moving, please? Like, I put on a mask, even though it doesn't help. I put my shirt over my nose. It's like I just can't stand the smell of it. So I know I wouldn't like smoking it. What's going on, fishing time? Hey bro, hey bro. Brian says, I always tell people it's there. I don't got time for someone to be having a yeah, tell them. You know what, Brian? I didn't think about that. Yeah, tell them, let them know. Let them know. Hey everyone. Hey, fishing time. Brian says hello. Like four. I appreciate that on fishing time. My sister hates the smell. Me too, Brian. I cannot stand it. Like, oh my gosh, if I'm at like a function or a get together, I'm like, because usually, of course, especially now if they were inside, I just would leave altogether. But most people I know smoke it outside, because they understand that everybody, like if it's kind of like an inside, like if it's at somebody's house, it's kind of like an inside outside thing. They go on the patio, or the back porch, or out in the backyard, or the front yard or whatever. But they go where it's like ventilated. They go so that everyone won't have to like inhale it. And because everybody doesn't like it. And I promise you, I cannot stand the smell of it. Because I'm like I say, when they say, oh, it don't smell good, I'm like, I don't know, because none of it smells good to me. Like, none of it. Sassy says, hello, everyone coming in. Fishing time says, hello, Sassy. Fishing time, bro, do you like that MJ? We're talking about that Mary Jane fishing time. I don't like it. That's just kind of like, let's see, like, I guess like alcohol. If I get a drink, it's got to be fruity. Because alcohol, I have never understood how people could love alcohol the way some do. Like some people like to, have them a drink here or there. Some people like wine. Some people like different kinds. Some people like whiskey. Some people like whatever. I just can't. Like, if I'm going to have something, it's going to be something fruity with a lot of ice. Because I'm telling you, I can't handle it, y'all. I can't handle it. I ain't ashamed to say it. I can't. Like, if y'all go out, what number of drinks is it that you can take if you go out? Brian says, I be laughing at my sissy, me and her husband both smoke. She don't, it's so annoying. I can't handle the smell. I can't. But it does, a lot of people say now, even though I can't handle it, for those who it seems to, help with certain health issues and things like that, That's a good thing. That's a good thing. If for those who it can help, calm their nerves or calm their issues in any kind of way, that's a good thing. That is a good thing. You know, and it's herbal. I mean, it's natural as long as it's not tainted. And see, that would be my issue too. I don't trust anybody when it comes to stuff like that, because people say you always have to trust whoever wherever you obtain it from. Something like that, I don't trust anybody. So my thing is, it's just it's best I not do it. I can't drink a lot of liquor. It never turns. I wear 3 shots max, 3 drinks is over. Oh, brilliant. I had my cousin, and some of our friends. We went out. I think we went to a comedy show or something. And so I got a drink. That's the only drink I had, and we were there for like maybe 2 hours. And they were like, okay, they had their drinks, and then they were like, okay, let me order another drink. And so the whole night they had no more than 4, 3 to 4. Some 3, maybe some of them had 4. Y'all had that one drink, and it didn't have, and I didn't ask for a lot of ice in that one because I knew I wasn't gonna have another one. So at max, I might ask for 2, depending on if it's good to me. And like I said, it's gotta be fruity because it's gotta be something to kind of kill that alcohol taste. That's why I'm like, I don't see how people drink a lot, because to me, it sounds just like what it says, like you're drinking alcohol. And when I say alcohol, I mean like alcohol that you put on cuts and bruises. To me, it tastes like you're drinking alcohol. Sassy says, I'm a wine drinker, only sweet Stella Rose. Okay, yeah. Some people, Sassy, I can't do it. I can't even do if it's wine, if it's wine, if it's just like the harder stuff, it's gotta be sweet. It's gotta be sweet, like the wines, the more like dessert type wines, maybe that. And the literature as far as like if wine is good for you or not, it changes every couple of years. 1 minute it's good for you, no matter if you have health issues or not. The next minute it's not good for you. Next minute, of course, moderation has always been the key, but there are times where people have decided that they're going to drink red wine once a day or 3 or 4 times a week because it's supposed to be healthy, heart healthy. And then that flipped and they said, well, no, pump your brakes. They're finding out that it offers no benefits the way that they thought. So I'm like, and even when they said it was healthy, it's like moderation is key, because moderation is always key. But I'm like, what? So 1 minute it's okay, and the next minute, and so I'm like, geez. So it's just not something that's on my list a lot. Like alcohol, pure wine, alcohol is never on my list. Every now and again, something sweet, dessert type wine, Let me tell y'all, when I go, like I was talking about my cousins and my friends, we were out at the comedy show, and I had that one alcohol, they were laughing at me. And I was like, I don't care about that. That's the one thing you can laugh at me about, and I do not care. like I'm like, First of all, to me, when you go home, like after you've had a drink, or if you're at home or whatever, when you go to bed and you wake up the next morning, to me, it's just like the nastiest taste in your mouth. At least the nastiest taste in my mouth. And then for those who can't really handle it like that, you kind of have a headache. So I was always told to take an Advil or something, before drinking. So whenever I do get my one alcoholic beverage, I take an Advil or ibuprofen right before, or if I forget it, I take it right after. Cause because I can't, y'all. I cannot. I can't handle it. Green says to me too, Lines Fry, if it's not fruit, I can't do it. I'm telling you. And then so they laugh at me and they say, you got that wine cooler? And I said, well, it says it's got alcohol in it. They laugh at me and they say, you got that wine cooler? You kept that one wine cooler all night? Yep, exactly. That's all I needed. I have to be in control of my faculties, And I just feel like, You know, you have some women who can tolerate more alcohol than men. And I'm like, I don't even want to, I don't ever want to get to that point. I don't ever want to get to that point. Green says sassy Stella Rose is yummy and smooth. It makes me tickly. It makes you tickly brilliant. It's kind of sweet too, right? Is it kind of sweet? See, I never had that. I hear so many people talk about it. And see, I'm kind of funny because like when I hear a lot of people talk about something, it makes me in less of a hurry to get it. It makes me in less of a hurry to get it. So I haven't tried that. And then, you know, on top of the fact that I don't drink like that anyway, I'm not going to really, you know, if I buy a bottle of wine, it's going to probably be once or twice a year. And it's going to sit there for a while. Look, I'm going to help age it, y'all. I'm going to help age it. Yes, not overly sweet, just right. Okay, I got you. I got you. Because I think I told y'all about this before. I was in Walmart one day, and and there was two young ladies in there, and one of them was saying, "Get the Stella Rose, get the Stella Rose," and the other one was saying, "I don't want that Kool-Aid." I was like, I was like, what? And so yeah, she was saying she was like, "It's good, it's not Kool-Aid," and she was like, "Girl, I do not want Stella Rose," and so the other one was like, "I do." She was like, "We can just get both." And she was like, "Okay, just get it." Like they got it or whatever. And then they ended up going to the liquor store. Cause I'm like, Walmart didn't have what they were looking for. Walmart didn't have what they were looking for. But that was so funny. It was almost like a mom and a child together. But they were two friends and it was cute. She was like, "Get the Stella Rose, get the Stella Rose." And she was like, "What? I don't want no Stella Rose." And she was like, "Please get it." She's like, "We don't have any. We don't have any." And she was like, "We having girls night, get the Stella Rose." And she was like, "All right, just go ahead and get that Stella Rose." She was like, "I don't want that Kool-Aid." And I was so tickled. And it just made me laugh. I was like, so see, her friends probably like me. She wants the light stuff. The light and fruity. Something that's not heavy on you. Yes, Sassy. She said Kool-Aid. She said she didn't want that Kool-Aid. And so she was like, let's go down into the liquor store. So she was like, we could have just went on to the store first. Instead of coming here, she said the liquor store would have had that old Stella Rose you want. Y'all, it was so funny. But yeah, that's what they told me when I had, it's like, what was it? I had something fruity. It was fruity. And that's what my cousins told me. They said, that's Kool-Aid. They were like, if you're going to get that, you might as well get a wine cooler. I was like, I might as well, but they don't have wine coolers. I'm like, wine coolers have alcohol. I don't want anything that's going to have me tipsy, period. Period. And if I drink two, like I said, at most, if I go somewhere, if I have two, it's probably going to essentially be one, because the only way for me to have that second one is if I have a lot of ice in the first one. Like if I have a lot of ice in the first drink, I'll ask for another one. And I might ask for lighter ice on the second one. Like I might ask, if I have one and I finish it, I'll ask for a second one with lighter ice. You're still at work? Alliance, I'm still at work in the BG. Oh no. Well, you know what? I always forget. Like, it's early where you are. Fishing time. It's early. You're in Cali. It's early. It's early. That's what I like about the West Coast. But I guess if I lived out west, it wouldn't really seem that way, or it really wouldn't matter. It seems like it's always so early. Isn't the draft tonight? It's the draft. It's the fishing time. If you still hear me, it's the draft tonight. NFL draft. Is it 19, 20, 21st? Or is it next week? I think the draft comes on at 7 o'clock. I like to watch the draft. Brent says, whenever I go to one of my friend girls' celebrations or parties, I always bring roses in a bottle of Stella Rose. I've never gone wrong with that. That sounds good. That sounds good, Brilliant. Yeah, whatever happened to wine coolers? They still sell them. Brilliant. They still sell them. Every now and again, I get me some Kool-Aid. I guess that's what wine coolers are. My people call wine coolers Kool-Aid. They call wine coolers Kool-Aid like that young lady in the store did. Whatever happened to wine coolers? I don't even see them. I don't ever see them anymore. And that's why I can't drink anything without ice, not even milk. Really? Oh wow. Like I don't like ice. I like ice more. You know what? It depends on the formulation of it. Like if you have a Sonic in your area, then you'll know that type of ice, the little bitty cubes. I love that kind. The crunchy one that you could just throw probably like 15 of them in your mouth. I love that kind of ice. Sassy said, Stella Rose is my stuff. She said, wine cooler's still around, Brilliant. Yeah, Brilliant. Where you shopping at, Brilliant? I know they're at Walmart and Target. But yeah, like that kind of ice, like a big cube ice, I don't care for that. Uh, the only kind like crushed ice is okay. I'm okay with that sometimes, but I like the ones with the little bitty cubes. I said, if you have a Sonic in your area, you'll know what ice I'm talking about. It's that size right before they crush it. It's the size, if you put it in sizes, it's the one right before they crush it. Now I like that ice, but like the ice that just kind of comes like from your refrigerator, unless it's that little cube kind, I don't the little elongated like what is it, moon shaped, I don't like that, or the big squares, I don't like that. The drink has to be really really hot, or like straight out of a bottle and has no no coolness to it at all. I prefer room temp to I prefer room temperature to cold, but I just lately started to like cold water. The past few years, I've started to like cold water. I usually like cool water. Like if it's I don't know if y'all used to do this, but when I was growing up, we would put water in the refrigerator, let it get cool. I like it like that, and sometimes that would even be a little bit cold for me. I like room temp water, room temp to cool. But I will say the most recent years, I have developed a likeness for cold water, cold without ice, cold with no ice. Green says I buy my ice from Sonic's. Right, I laugh out loud. $2 bag. Yep, and last Friday, yes, NFL draft is tonight. I thought so. Oh shoot, I had something else I wanted to watch, but I want to watch the draft. Well, and it stays on for like 3 hours. Like it's gonna be like maybe what, like whew, till 11 o'clock. It's gonna stay on it's gonna stay on about 3 hours tonight and tomorrow, and then Sunday it'll be short. It'll be short Sunday. Yeah, it'll be short Sunday. But yes, y'all, I like room temp most of the time. I'll say room temp half the time, and cool to cold the other half of the time. But it used to just kind of be room temp to cool. Like give it to me cool. Like if it was out of the fridge, even without ice, and it was too cold, I kind of let it sit for a little while, and then I drink it. And if I have to have ice, I'll get it. And the ice I prefer is that Sonic ice. Oh my goodness. Yes, brilliant. That's why they started selling it. Because everybody loves that ice. Everybody loves Sonic ice. Everybody. That $2 bag. Yeah, that $2 bag of Sonic ice is so good. That's why they started. Sonic makes a killing off that ice. They make a killing off that ice. Oh, it's the 25th and 26th? Okay. Oh, that's good, Brie. That's good. I'm glad that was a slip up. Cause I thought it was I thought the draft was this weekend, but it is next weekend. So that's good. That's good. I got the weekends mixed up. I thought it was this weekend, but it's next weekend. So that's good. That's good. Wait a minute, Brilliant. You just took that back. Is it tonight? Is it tonight? Oh my goodness. I hope it's not tonight. I got some other things I want to watch tonight. But hey, I guess I'll watch two TVs. I'll do it like the bar does it. I have to watch two TVs. I don't like the TVs where you can watch one thing like in the upper, the little, what do you call it when you can watch TV and then you can watch something else different, like right up in the corner of it. I don't like that. It's too, I mean, it's not too distracting. It's just a little bit annoying to me. Okay, it is April 25th through 27th. Okay, I got you. So I got to make sure I'm ready. That's almost like watching a college football game, except like everybody wins. Everybody wins, except for the few who don't get drafted. And even in the end, some of them win because they get signed on as what is it, free agents or whatever. They get assigned to a training squad. 9 a.m. No, it's usually like 7 or 8 p.m. The draft, the NFL draft. Which draft? Let me see. Which draft are you talking about, Brie? You talking about NFL? It's usually at night. It's usually at night. Check it for me, Brilliant, to make sure. I'm going to check it when I get off. But it's usually like at night, starting like 8 o'clock Eastern time to 11 the first night. And then the second night, kind of like the same thing. Maybe it ends a few minutes earlier. And then Sunday, it's pretty short. But I love watching the NFL draft because it's like everybody wins. Now, of course, to those being drafted, if you don't go the round you want to go in, then it's not like a win. But I mean, just to be drafted into the NFL, I know is a win. But I guess for those who go when expected, it's a bigger win. But just to go, period. Sometimes things like injuries will cause someone to drop out of the first round into the second round, or from the second round to the third round. But I just feel like that opportunity, it's a win. It's a win-win. And once you get in there that first year or two, you show out, hey, it's just like you got drafted with the big ones at the beginning. No, I gotta check that. Because the draft usually comes on at night. Kind of like the Heisman. Like the Heisman ceremony. They know what they do. They throw that in the nighttime so that you can get those ratings. Because a 9 a.m. draft, ain't nobody watching that. But those who are like, you like probably dedicated or not really just dedicated to watching it, but those who have some type of investment. So yeah, I gotta check that. People ain't gonna even be up early enough. Like on a Saturday, it usually starts on a Friday too. Everybody's at work. Every draft I've watched has been at nighttime. NFL, NBA. I didn't watch the women's, but I think theirs was even at night. The basketball, women's basketball. Even though women's basketball made a lot of noise this year. That's a good thing. Women's basketball made a lot of noise this year. You love Sonic Ice? Me too. I love Sonic Ice, Sassy. That ice right there. And you know what? The hospitals and healthcare facilities have that type of ice too. Hey, Catherine. Catherine with friends says, hello, chat. Hello, Sassy. The hospital has that kind of ice too. Usually when you maybe like visiting somebody or something like that, the hospitals have that kind of ice because they can pack it really well. But that small cubed ice, that's the best ice. Oh my gosh, that's the best ice. And I'm not an ice person, but if it's that ice, then yeah. But I like room temperature water. Yeah, Sassy says I like room temperature water too. Yes. Catherine says, hello, darlings. Hey, hey, Catherine with friends. Welcome to the live. How are you? 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 Glad to have you in this live. I appreciate you for coming through here and saying hello to everybody. We're talking about everything over here. It's free for all Friday, really. We were talking about putting out fires earlier. You know, anything that you went through this week, any kind of fire that you went through, that popped up. Hopefully you can use Friday to kind of put it out. Put it out. Put those fires out that started this week. Put some of those fires out that started before this week, like last week, a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. You know, use your Fridays to kind of just put those fires out. And even if you can't put them out, extinguish them a little bit. Extinguish them a little bit. Break them down to sparkles. Sparkles. Have yourself a good Friday. Just break them down. Evaluate how you can, tackle them next week. Evaluate how you can tackle them again next week. Find some time to enjoy yourself this weekend. I encourage each and every one of you guys to, of course, move. That's the purpose of y'all seeing me move, seeing my legs move, 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 move. And some of y'all want you to move like this, okay? Like this. We want you to move like this. All right? We're going to do it like this. Okay? I want y'all to move a brisk walk. Like this is fine. I usually walk like this because I've just gotten off my elliptical. I've just gotten through exercising. But if walking is all that you're going to do, then I want you to do this for 30 minutes, okay? 30 minutes. And don't speed up the video to double time, okay? Don't speed it up to 2 times. Don't do it like that. I want you to walk like this for 30 minutes, 5 days a week, at least. 5 days a week. You can do it 7 days a week, but we're going to do at least 5, okay? If walking is all that you do, we want to do it like this, okay? And if your goal is for fitness, then that's all you have to do. Just 30 minutes of cardiovascular activity, not just walking. Walking isn't for everybody. You may want to use your treadmill, your bicycle, your elliptical. Swim, skate, dance. Dance for 30 minutes nonstop. When you walk, you want to walk with a purpose, okay? Even if it's not to lose weight, if it's for fitness, you want to get that heart rate up. So usually I'm like this because I've just gotten off of my elliptical for like 30 to 45 minutes. I've been on there sometimes for like an hour. And then every other day I've done my weight training. So when I come on here to cool down, I'm kind of walking like this and just letting people see my legs so it will encourage somebody to move. But if I have not exercised for the day, which I've been exercising, every time I come on here, I've exercised either right before or the morning of. But if you want to be focused on calorie burning, get you a Fitbit or something similar, and we want to walk briskly. We want to walk like this, okay? This is how you want to walk to do that. You don't want your walking to be in vain. You want to walk with a purpose. You want to walk with a purpose for a purpose. And your purpose is for fitness. And if your purpose is for weight loss, you definitely want to walk like this. You want to jog if you can. If you can't, just a brisk walk, 30 minutes, nonstop. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Put it back like right. Like in the army, in the military. If you off that cadence, you got to get back right. You skip and get it right. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Talk if you can. If you can't talk, that's okay. Once you continue to walk, you will build up your stamina, your endurance, and you will be able to talk. Like me, I don't like to talk during my main exercise. That's why I always talk while I'm doing this cool down. I don't like to talk, I like to focus. I like to watch TV, watch YouTube or something, and I like to focus. But if you want to walk with a purpose, for a purpose, you've got to be brisk, y'all. You've got to be brisk. 30 minutes. At least 20 minimum. And I won't say below 20 because when you say 20, people want to drop it to 15 and 10. Be dedicated. It's got to be brisk. But do what you can do. Do what you can do. And you will work your way up to briskness. You will work your way up to briskness. And you can take some deep breaths. In and out. In and out. You want your walk to be with purpose, for a purpose. Catherine says, too much. And you're carrying the bag. Yes, yes, yes. It just popped open. Yes, yes. If you can carry something on your back, backpack, little handbag, little crossover bag, you know, because you need things. I got a little charger in there. Uh, believe it or not, I got 2 things of water, like water shots. I got water in there in case, because I drink some water and I let it kind of go down before I come on here. Because if you start walking with that water in your stomach like that, you know, it may cramp you up. But I get the water shots. So if I want water, I'll put it in there. And people will remind you to drink water. Please drink your water. Unless you have medical limitations on water, drink it. If you have no medical limitations on water, drink it. Drink it. Water gets those joints lubricated. It helps that synovial fluid to stay, you know, to increase. It keeps it flowing around those joints. Even if you have osteoarthritis. No information in this video is meant to be medical advice to you. It's just meant it's for educational purposes only. Tell you things that work for most people, other people, some people. Okay, YouTube, that's that disclaimer. And I say 30 minutes because most literature tells you 30 minutes. And as a trainer, I know 30 minutes, okay? I know. To me, that's the minimum. But people will try to get by and do 10. So if you say 20, next thing you know, they're going to want to do 10. They're going to do 15. They're going to do 10. And I'm like, 10? By the time you're done with 10, you've just warmed up and cooled down. You have no in between, right? You have no in between. So you want to walk briskly and you want to walk with a purpose, okay? Briskly with a purpose. If you can talk, that is great. If you can't, that's okay. And even if you can talk and you don't want to, that's fine. If you would like to be able to talk as you walk, because I know I call this Let's Walk and Talk, right? If you want to be able to do that, then just go a little bit slower until you build up your endurance. Go a little bit slower until you build up your endurance. And you'll be able to do that. How long do you walk? Catherine, this should honestly be like 10-minute cool down just to get my heart rate back down. But this is my opportunity to go live. So I always, you know, on my lives, I walk, most times it's at least 45 minutes. I come on here some days and say I'm going to do 30 and it turns to 45. A lot of times it's an hour and a half. Like yesterday, it was a little over an hour, but I have walked for like an hour and a half. So yeah, I have walked for an hour and a half. But when I'm walking for an hour and a half, I don't walk briskly. I don't walk fast the whole time because that would essentially turn into another workout. So if you don't work out at all, yes, and you're going to walk 30 minutes, do 30, and then read up on it, Google it. Most sources would advise 30 minutes, 5 days a week. 30 minutes, 5 days a week. So that gets you 150 minutes per week. 150 minutes per week. And that's just for fitness and for health. That's not for weight loss. If you want to lose weight, you have to burn at least 500 calories per day. 3,500 calories per week. 3,500 calories per week, that's a pound. It'll burn off a pound. So if you want to walk to lose weight, then you need to get your Fitbit, figure out, see what your calorie count is, what you're burning. And you burn you a good 500 per day. As long as if you know what you eat and you burn off 500 per day, in a week's time, that'll be a pound. But if you overeat, or if you get into the mind frame that some people are in, well, I got to walk today anyway, you'll find yourself eating more than usual because you're thinking, well, I'm going to walk and burn this off. No, you're not going to walk and burn that off. Not if you're not consistent, not if you're not doing it daily. And 2, not if you have the mindset that you can eat more because you're walking more. That's not going to work. It's not going to work. Green says, if I drink too much water while I'm out, I got to shut my walk short. my bladder don't. But yeah, and see, and that's why I think it was Brian. She used to ask me, make sure, ask me about my water, and I was like, I usually don't get it during my cool down when I'm working out. I'm sipping on it from time to time because I don't want to get too full. I don't want my stomach to cramp. This is like marathon runners. When they're running, they're not running with a water bottle in their hands usually. They might stop and take a break. They might do it right after. So, yes, you don't want to weigh yourself down. You don't. You don't want to weigh yourself down. And if you sound winded or like you're tired, stop. Now, sometimes, like I'll sound winded, but I'll know when to stop. If you sound winded, know your limits. You're not, each person is different. We're individual. So just make sure you know your limits. If you sound winded and you sound like but not just winded, but like you're short of breath, stop. Stop. Catherine says, great idea, Lions Pride. Sassy says, this week, the lunch walker group will be having a walkathon. Okay. So you guys are gonna, how's it gonna work, Sassy? Catherine says, I've been walking mostly all my life. I'm tired. Well, that's the thing. If you've been that consistent, you won't be tired. If you've been that consistent, you won't be tired because it's a mindset. Now, sometimes you may plateau, and you may, like we do with everything. We'll say I'm tired. Like I walked all my life. I walked as a kid. Wherever I wanted to go, we walked. Even when we had vehicles, we walked. If it was in walking distance, and walking distance is 5 to 10 miles. Because, like our granny said, they honestly walked 5 to 10 miles to school and back. So, if it's like that, then, and those people live to be 90 and 100 years old. Now, that doesn't mean that somebody's going to live to be 90 and 100 years old. But I'm just saying, it didn't hurt them. It didn't hurt them. It didn't hurt them. And if you're dedicated and you're consistent, and if you truly have done that, if you stop doing it, you'll feel a difference. Not for the better. If you stop doing it, you'll feel lazy. You'll feel lazy. So walk to your ability. Walk to your ability. I see so many people, like I said before, they haven't walked before. And even just walking, I'm not talking about jogging. They don't walk consistently. And so they get out there and they try and walk 5 miles one day, just up out the blue. I'm going to start walking. And then they get discouraged. That discourages them because they haven't done it. You have to build up. You have to build up. So when I say I don't recommend 10, 15 minutes, I don't. But the flip side of that, if you have not been doing it, then yes, start off with 10 minutes. Start off with 15 minutes. And try to do it every day. It is recommended 30 minutes per day, 5 days a week. Because some people like to be off. Like Catherine was saying, she's gotten tired of walking. So that'll help to keep you from getting tired until you get used to it. For those who have never really walked for exercise. All of us have been walking forever since we learned to walk. But if you haven't been walking for exercise, then it can make you feel a little like it's a chore, So the 10 to 15 minutes is advisable for those people. And then they can increase it. After so many months, they can increase that. Always check with your healthcare provider to make sure that you should be walking. Walking is an exercise that every healthcare provider will encourage. But like I said, we all are individuals. And so I must make that disclaimer, for YouTube purposes and just for purposes in general, because it's true. Don't go try to run a marathon because you were in the military 15, 20 years ago. You have to build up to that again if you haven't been doing it consistently since you got out. And if you haven't been in the military, and that's just a good example to use because people in the military, that's what they do. They train, they're machines, they train. So you've been out of the military 10 years, and you haven't really walked or jogged since then. Don't go out there and try and run a 5-mile marathon without training, without getting back into the rhythm of it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Train. Even if you have certain health issues, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, glucose, blood sugar issues, even heart issues, they still advise you to walk. Now, how you walk, they may be advising you to do it differently from an athlete, of course, because you can't do it that way. But when you have those health issues, they still, moving will always be encouraged. So that's why I say, yes, I don't know a healthcare provider that will tell you not to move, but there are exceptions due to certain, health ailments or health issues. And even then, I don't think that they'll tell you not to, but what they will tell you is how to better do it. They'll come up with a plan for you because they really do want you to move. They want that heart to pump, to keep it pumping. They want those vessels, they want that blood to get that good circulation. So yes, they will most likely encourage you to move, but they're not going to tell you to go out there and be Flojo, okay? They're not going to tell you to be Jesse Owens. They're going to just tell you to exercise for fitness, So don't try to do what your neighbor does. If your neighbor is advanced in it and you want to walk with them and you find that they're leaving you, don't try to keep up. That can still be a good walk partner. They'll be way ahead and you'll be behind, but you can use them, as a partner still, because for one, safety issues, for two, to help you reach your goals. Your goal may not be to walk 5 blocks in 10 minutes. Your goal may be to walk 2 blocks in 10 minutes. And right now you're only walking 1. So sometimes, even if you guys are on different levels, sometimes you can still encourage each other. Sassy says, I got my t-shirt today. I walked in my house upstairs in my guest bedroom. My t-shirt was lying on the bed. I've been waiting on it since Monday. So this week I'm be busy with the group. Okay, that's good. That's good, Sassy. Catherine says, facts. Sassy says, I have to keep moving. I love walking. I do 45 to an hour daily. I have no other choice because I refuse to let my injury stop me. My PT recommend me to keep moving. Yeah, I'm telling you, most healthcare providers will. Whether it's your doctor, your nurse practitioner, your physical therapist, usually they're going to recommend it. They're just going to tell you to know your limits. Know your limits. If you feel winded, stop. Slow down. If you hurt in any way, that's not just with cardiovascular. That's for those who do, strength training exercises, weight training exercises. Stop. If that 10-pound weight is making your arm feel tired on the 5th rep, and you got 7 more to go, drop down to 8. Okay? Drop down to 8. People always, it's just so funny to me how people want to be Superman and Superwoman. Just work your way up. It's okay. Work your way up. Catherine says, I saw that. So that's it. Just if you haven't done it, yeah, of course, 10, 15 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes. Work your way on up to 20. And eventually work your way up to 30. And I know it's 24 hours in a day. And a lot of times people say they don't have time. But if you're on social media 3 hours out of the day, guess what? You had time to move. You could have danced for 20 to 30 minutes. You could have walked for 20 to 30 minutes. You could have gotten on your treadmill for 20 to 30 minutes. You could have gotten on your elliptical. You could have went swimming. You could have jogged if you can. You could skip. You can rock climb. You can do whatever. Happy Friday, Lions Pride, Mod and Chat. Hey, Annie. Welcome into the chat, Annie. Glad to have you. We're just on here talking about Free for All Friday. Free your mind. Put it out fires. Free fire. We're going to fire Friday. We're going to put out fires on Friday. Whatever you went through during the week, when Friday gets here, put that fire out. If you couldn't put it out during the week, put it out. Put it out before going into your weekend. Sassy says, my mom is 85. She still be walking. Yes. And I know they encourage her to. I bet you her doctors and, nurses, they encourage her to walk. Sassy says, hey, Annie. Annie says, hi, Sassy. So, don't try and overdo it. Always know your limits, whether you're just starting out or whether you're consistent. Even if you're consistent, make sure that you know your limits. You don't want to overdo it. Catherine says, God bless her. Annie said, good idea. Yes. You don't want to Where's my friend? Oh, he's out. He's out for the count. He'll be good tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was looking for my friend. I passed by here twice and didn't see him. He got his shots today. But yes, never overdo it. No, this is Friday, free for all Friday, whatever we want to talk about. We want to put out fires on Friday. Some of those fires that started up during the week, they started up during this week, and you may have, you battled them, but maybe you didn't quite put them out. And you may not put them all out today, because some of those fires that you encountered last week were from week before last, 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago. But we're going to quell those fires, okay? We're going to quell those fires. We're going to change the things that we can and work on the things that we can't. We're going to change the things that we can, and we're going to work on the things that we can. And the things that we just absolutely can't change, we're going to pray about it, and we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that we can do whatever it is to help us deal with it better. There are some things we have to just learn to deal with, but sometimes we need help with learning to deal with those things. So change what you can, and monitor what you can't. Change what you can and monitor what you can't. That's from relationships to your job, to your health, to your mindset. Change your mindset. If your mindset is not where you want it to be, change it. And a lot of times we can't do that instantly. We have to work on it. We have to train our minds the same way we have to sometimes train our taste buds. When you want to eat healthier, you don't really like healthy foods, you train your taste buds to enjoy those healthier foods. Hello from Armenia. Hello, Sanchez 26. Hello from Armenia. Nice to have you in the chat. I appreciate you for stopping through. Yes, it is different when you walk every day. Lines Pride say talk to your healthcare provider. I always tell people, talk to your healthcare provider, because see, a lot of times people, I hate that, and it's not hard. Sometimes people are like, oh, she got high blood pressure, or she got this, or she got that, or he had this, or he had that. The way they exercise, let me tell you, exercise is one component to overall health. You have to remember such thing as genetics. You have to remember such things as genetics, environment, your environment, what you've been inhaling, where you live, So someone can exercise every day of the week. It still doesn't mean that you have to, sometimes we don't think before we say things. We go by what we know. Yes, you see a person there exercising every day. It doesn't mean they don't have high blood pressure, hypertension. They may have it, and that's what they're working on. It doesn't mean that they don't have problems with their blood sugar. They may be a brittle diabetic, and that's why they're walking. They've been encouraged to walk. It doesn't mean they don't have high cholesterol. Their HDL, the good cholesterol, may not be where the doctor wants it to be. Their LDL, the bad cholesterol, may be a little bit higher than the doctor would like it to be. So he encourages them to walk. Everything that you look up on, that you Google, if it's a health situation, a health issue, most times it's gonna say, eat better and exercise. Those are gonna be two of the staple recommendations: to eat better and to exercise. Sassy says, hey Sanchez 26. My doctor always tells me to keep moving and get plenty of sunshine. Yes, because vitamin D is one of those vitamins they don't often check for. But it's becoming more and more known now that a lot of people's vitamin D levels aren't where they should be. And of course, everybody's talking about it now. And as they should be, because it was just something that usually they didn't put in the CMP or the BMP, the basic metabolic panel, the complete metabolic panel, those blood tests that they do to kind of do an overall check. Well, vitamin D wasn't one of those things that they checked for. So now it is. Well, now, you know what? Some doctors still don't. Sometimes people have to ask their doctors, and some people have been asking their doctors. And guess what? Doctors know trends. Sometimes you'll have a doctor that's stubborn. Well, you're doing okay. You're not having any symptoms. But sometimes people just want to have something checked just because, they've been hearing about it. So let me get my levels checked. When people do that, check them, because so many people don't like going to the doctor. So now, of course, the doctor will recommend what he suggests or she suggests. But, when people are being proactive about their health, allow them to be, because so many people aren't. Allow them to be, because so many people aren't. So, and more people have become knowledgeable about vitamin D. So, let them check their levels, You don't have to do it every time they go to the doctor's office. There are a lot of levels that they'll check, maybe every couple of years or something like that. Sassy says my weights are 2 pounds each. What do you mean, your ankle weights? My ankle weights are 2 pounds. And sometimes those 2 pounds on the ankle feel like 5. It just depends on how. It just depends, especially when they're new. Oh my goodness, my ankle weights are 2 pounds. Or do you mean the hand weights? Do you mean the hand weights, Sassy? So yes, if you come across this live replay, know that my goal is to have you to move. That's the message in my lives. I want you to look at these legs, move. You can move like this. You can move like this. You can move like this. It's just all what's within your abilities at the time. And it's all about what you want to work up to. But I want you to move. My whole purpose of these Let's Walk and Talk Lives, listen to it, Let's Walk and Talk Live, is to encourage you to move while I'm live. And if you don't catch me when I'm live, catch the replay. You may get bored over here because we're not trying to be messy. We're not trying to be in anybody's business. We're not trying to talk about people. We're trying to uplift, encourage, motivate, and receive motivation. We're trying to throw it out there and we're trying to receive it. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to uplift. We're trying to encourage. We're trying to motivate. We're trying to give it and we're trying to receive it. We're trying to give it and we're trying to receive it. It's a reciprocal relationship. It's a reciprocal relationship. Sassy says, I always tell people to keep moving. Last Friday, he is resting, bless his heart. Yes, he got his, he said, I forgot what kind of shots he said, but he said that he got one in each hip. You want to motivate, you want to encourage, and to content creators in here, y'all, certain content creators come through here often on a regular basis and some every so often. Let me tell you, don't get discouraged with your channels. Having a channel is what you want to do. Like, it's kind of like when we say, when I was talking about, okay, say something happens and you find out someone has high blood pressure. One of the dumbest things to say is he exercises every day. It could be hereditary. And it may not be hereditary. He could be stressed out. He's exercising, he's relieving stress, but it still doesn't mean there's not something mentally weighing on him or her. And maybe nobody in his family has it. The hereditary part starts with that person, maybe. Maybe it's something that they're doing that's increasing their blood pressure. Maybe they're stressed. They're exercising, but maybe they're stressed. So, certain conditions, you listen to your doctors. And when you have doubt, then you consult another one. And you also do your research. Some doctors will tell you that things are hereditary. Some doctors will tell you that they're not. Have a little common sense about things yourself. Even if your mother, your sister, your brother, your cousins, sometimes it could be cousins, and in that case, it may not really be hereditary. If it's like your immediate family, none of your siblings, your parents, neither grandparent side has diabetes. and that person has it. Maybe it's not hereditary to that point, but at that point, that person should make sure that they keep their kids and grandkids checked. Because when we say hereditary, it's had to have started somewhere. Sometimes that person is where it starts, you know? And sometimes he may have kids and grandkids and they aren't. So sometimes it just happens. Sometimes it's not hereditary, but a lot of the times it can be. So, you know, be mindful of who you listen to and know that anything is possible. People tell people they'll never do this again or they'll never do that again. Even the science shows it. History shows, well, one in so many. Well, they may be that one in so many who will do it again. So, yes, just know certain things, they can be hereditary. And it's not just, when you say hereditary, especially with the African American community, it does not just doesn't start with your parents and your grandparents. There are a lot of things traditionally that have been passed down. It may skip 2 or 3 generations. And so you may be feeling like, my mom doesn't do this, my dad doesn't do this, my siblings don't. Why am I doing this? And then your grandchild may as well, and your child didn't. So sometimes it can be like that and appear not so hereditary. And then sometimes it's obviously hereditary, like your dad has high blood pressure and you do too. Or your mom and your dad has high blood pressure, you do too. That's not uncommon. High blood pressure is like so prevalent. That's not uncommon. Diabetes is prevalent, so that's not uncommon. So, you know, just always listen to that little birdie, you know, whenever you're making any decisions about anything. Because how many times have we done something and we said, I should have followed my first mind? But you know, and somebody else will come along and say on the flip side, as soon as you follow your first mind, that's when you should have done the second thing. Isn't it funny how that works? Isn't it funny how it works? And it can both be true. But I tell you one thing, if you're ever taking a test, don't change that answer. Do not change that answer. Unless you can remember specifically when I'll give you an example. A blank a day keeps the doctor away. Most of us know we've heard an apple a day. Well, say, you know how things change. Say in most recent years, say maybe the past 10 years, they say a banana a day. And so you get to a test, and it has what keeps the doctor away. And answer A is a pineapple. Answer B is an apple. Answer C is a watermelon. Answer D is a banana. Now, apple has always been the main staple for decades and decades and decades, probably hundreds of years, right? They just recently started saying banana. Think back to what your teacher told you. And you better go with what she told you most recently, okay? Now, if banana is not a choice, you better pick apple. You better pick apple, okay? You better pick apple. Now, if your most recent teaching, say if you're in nursing school or nursing assistant schools, you're in a dietary school to be a dietitian, okay? Especially something like that. If the most recent research has said banana, you know, sometimes our minds go faster than our hands. Our mind may remember that we've always heard from a child an apple, and our hand may mark apple. Before you click off that answer, if something said, your second mind may say, wait a minute. No, in class they said banana. Didn't they say banana? Then, and you can remember your instructor saying banana, then you change that answer and you make a banana. But if you can't remember or whatever, then you stick with your first answer. So it's so funny how people always say when it's a test and you just don't know, go with your first answer. Don't go back and do a lot of erasing. If you have the opportunity to erase, most tests now are on computers and they don't allow you to go back. You know, you just got to think about it before you move on to the next question. So, you know, before you leave that question, if something just doesn't feel right about that apple, and then all of a sudden, right before you click to the next question, you remember your instructor saying, it has now become the banana because of what, yada, 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 yada. then you can change that answer. If banana is an option, then you change that answer. But say you remember your professor saying that, but banana is not an option. Then what are you going to put? You're going to put an apple a day. You're going to put an apple a day. That's what you better put. So, Brent says, amen to that. Exactly, Lion's Pride. Sassy says, something is genetic. Yes, some things are genetic and some things aren't. You know, some things are and some things aren't. That's just like sickle cell anemia. You know, say your mom was married to your dad and she had the sickle cell trait and he didn't. Most likely your children are going to be fine, no sickle cell. But say they get divorced, she marries again, and her new husband, come to find out he has the trait too. And then a younger sibling develops sickle cell. That's absolutely genetic. That's absolutely genetic. You know, that is absolutely genetic. Annie says, I had hypertension with both of my pregnancies. Yeah. And sometimes you just have something for a time, for, you know, during a short time. Yep. You have that pregnancy hypertension. Sassy says, eat better, sleep, get some sunshine, and mind your own business. We'll be okay. Look, okay, mind your own business and stay out of people's misery lounges. Stay out of the misery lounge. And I know so many people who deal with that during pregnancy. Yep. Ankle weights. Oh, Sassy. So you had 2-pound ankle weights. They were heavy. My hand weights and ankle weights are all 2 pounds each. Okay. Sassy, someone told me I might get it when I am older again. Yeah. If someone's had it during pregnancies, there's an increased risk of it again. But hey, everyone's individual. And even if 80% of those who had it during pregnancy, there's still 20% somewhere who maybe didn't. Who maybe they didn't. Annie, okay, I don't really know. I hope not. Me too, Sassy. Yes, we're going to pray that away. Pray it off. But yes, women who deal with hypertension, if they never had it before, but they get it during pregnancy and it goes away after, you know, the birth of their child, they are at an increased risk of developing hypertension. But don't let that stress you, because people are at risk of hypertension without being pregnant, you know, without being pregnant. Some people have hypertension before they get pregnant. Some women especially, a lot of African American women, they develop hypertension in their mid to late 20s. Some before they even have a child. Yeah, so yeah, you can't let it stress you out. You can't control it. And some people will swear by however it worked for them, that's how it's going to work for you. That's not always the case. If it doesn't seem to be something that's genetic for them, they may be the only person in their family with high blood pressure. Another person may have a mother and a father with it, or their mother and father don't have it, but their maternal grandparents have it. Or their dad may not have it, but he has two sisters with it. You know, it's just like they say, different strokes for different folks. That's how it comes down to with genetics as well. Some will develop what others in the family have developed. Some won't. Some will develop things that nobody in the family has had. Can we say that that's genetics? Kinda, maybe not. Could be a family member nobody even knows about. You know, maybe a few other cousins had that particular thing going on. You know, skipped a generation or two. Or maybe that's just, it starts with that person. So that person is going to check their kids. You know, they're going to tell their kids, okay, make sure you keep an eye on your blood pressure. Make sure you monitor what you eat. Keep an eye on that sugar. You know, don't eat so much sugar. And when you're young, hey, it's like you ain't thinking about what was genetic or not. You know, unless for some reason you had to. Breen says not always, right? It's not always. Sometimes it is and sometimes it's not. Sassy says mostly everyone I know has hypertension, they still be eating and drinking. Sassy, look, they be taking that medicine. They be like, in their minds, they're thinking, well, I gotta take my medicine anyway. Living their lives like they want to. Yep. And they think, and even those people, because I know people like that too. I know people like that too. And they're like, well, yeah, but I take medicine for it and I check it. And that's a good thing. Just don't still, if you know, just like if you don't know, don't overindulge. Moderation is key. Moderation is key. So if you know, then you can still do those things. But the key word is still moderation. Your moderation may be greater than the next person's, but sometimes that's key. Sometimes even doctors will say, okay, because I think, like, what is it? There's a recommended amount of alcohol for men and women a day, for healthy men and women. So if for some reason, because you still can be, your high blood pressure doesn't mean you're not healthy. It means for some reason, your body has a tendency, your vessels are more resistant and, they tighten. And so the pressure increases for whatever reason. You may not know for what reason till years later. And sometimes it's just primary hypertension, meaning it's just that, you just hypertension. Nothing is causing it. You just have it. So, doctors, they know that people are still going to enjoy things. So what they'll tell you is what we talk about all the time, moderation. If you're completely healthy, moderation is still a key word for everybody, because you want to stay that way. And not only do you want to stay that way, just think about it. If they tell you to cut back on something, well, it won't be so hard anyway because you don't overindulge anyway. Sometimes it may get a little hard at first because guess what? As soon as someone says don't do something, then that's when you crave it. That's when you desire it. That's when you crave it, and that's when you desire it. Even if you've never really craved it before. That's when you crave it, and that's when you desire it, even if you haven't before. Sassy says, I stay moving because it's all I know. Moderation is everything. Annie says, agree with moderation. Yes, so even, doctors know that people with diabetes, they have a drink or two sometimes. People with high blood pressure, they have a drink or two sometimes. Because again, that doesn't make you not healthy to have those things. It means you have a medical condition that you're treating, that's being treated, and that you're taking care of, and that you're controlling, you're managing it. Okay? So your doctor knows about it, you know about it, you've talked to him about the do's and the don'ts, the cans and the can'ts, and you're managing it. And he's most likely going to give you that same advice that he gives people who may not be taking anything for anything, may not be on any kind of meds. He's going to be like, moderation. Usually a man can have, I forgot how many it is, I'll just say 4. His body can tolerate 4 drinks, and a lady maybe 2, 1 or 2 a day. Well, he's going to tell you maybe 3 a week. Don't do the 1 a day. See that moderation, or for the average person who doesn't have your issue, maybe they can get by with having a drink a day. With you, depending on also the medication that you're on for your condition, because some medications and alcohol don't mix. Depending what you're on, they will say, okay, you can have 1. If you're a man, you may go from being able to have that 3 when you were completely, issue free. You may go from being able to have 3. He may tell you, okay, only 1 a day. Or he may tell you, drink on the weekend. And don't overindulge even then. Don't let your weekend amount be what would have been a whole week's amount, okay? With a woman, same thing. I think we know our bodies just a little bit less. He may say, okay, where you could drink 1 a day, now let's keep it like 1 every other day. When you get off, yeah, you want to relax something, keep it to 1 every other day. And usually it is beer that they'll say okay to. Sassy says, I'm not a beer drinker or liquor drinker. I might drink some Stella Rose every 3 or 6 months. Right. Well, I'm about to get out of here, y'all. I got to go and check on that draft for sure. I know Brent said it's next week. But she was saying something about in the morning. I've never seen it in the morning. So unless there's a change for some reason, I got to go check that because I don't want to miss that NFL draft. I thank you guys for staying in the live and walking with me. No matter how you do it, just do it. Again, don't let anyone be the judge of what you should do. Let your body be your judge, and you and your doctor come to that decision. You and your doctor come to that decision, and even your doctor is going to tell you, if you feel a certain way, change it up. Change the way you're doing it. If you feel a certain way, change the way you're doing it. Even the doctor will tell you that. Okay? Sassy says, okay, well, I will be busy this weekend. Good night to all. Look, have fun too, Sassy. You're going to be a busy woman. Make sure you're busy out there having fun as well. Annie says 100. Thank you, Annie. I missed you for being in the chat. I'm glad to see you. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate you. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And again, y'all know what I say. Peace, positivity, and prosperity. Without peace, there's chaos. Without positivity, there's negativity. Wherever chaos and negativity live, you fail to prosper to your fullest potential. Don't let people bother you. And don't y'all bother anybody, okay? Unless they're bothering you. Don't let stress people stress you out. And don't leave any place with more stress than you went into that place with. Be it work, church, Walmart, Target, wherever it is. If it's stressing you out, leave. Don't leave any place with more stress than you entered, okay? Don't let anybody take you into their misery lounge. Don't let anybody take you into their misery lounge. They will invite you in and pat on the seat right next to them and say, come on, have a seat. Tell them no thanks. Tell them no thanks, y'all. Tell them you got something else, you got something better to do. You don't want to visit the misery lounge with them. Because we all know that misery loves company. So when they invite you into their misery lounge, say no thanks. Say no thanks. You know, let's work on ourselves. Work on the things that we have, that we do that are positive. Let's increase those and continue to do those. And then acknowledge your flaws. One of mine is patience. But I learn daily. And sometimes, believe it or not, this app teaches you patience. Because the one thing about it, sometimes you don't want people to see you in a certain light or to see you come out of a certain bag. So when people test you and try you, they test your patience. Sometimes we slip up and they're going to see us come out of that bag. But if you know that that's a flaw and you know that that's a button and you're ready on go, don't go. Don't go. Because they're testing your patience and they want you over there in the misery lounge. Let them sit over there by themselves. Let them sit over there by themselves. Don't let them get you caught up in the misery lounge. All right, y'all. Thank you, guys. I love each and every one of you guys. Thank you for being here. You could have been anywhere else. And I hope you were multitasking. In fact, I hope you were moving. Remember, you see the legs moving. Hopefully you're moving. Hopefully it's encouraging you to move. It doesn't have to be fast. But let's start off slowly and then increase it to a brisk walk. Do what you can do. Do what makes you feel better, okay? Do what makes you feel better. And just doing something will make you feel better. So I will see you guys on the next Let's Walk and Talk Live. Bye, y'all.